Well, great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Whatever time you're watching this video, rest assured it's a great time to be alive. Am I right? I want to welcome everyone to today's broadcast. That means this is big, this is huge, this is massive. That's what the word broad means, right? And then to cast, that means to throw with effort. So I'm going to give you my best. I'm going to give you my all. I'm going to give you my everything, right? With all the effort, with all the energy, excitement that I have within me. But it also means, cast also means to mold. It means to shape. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next 30 minutes. That's right. We're going to be here together for at least 30 minutes. So I want to welcome you. Who is that? Zabib? Wow. Don't know that name. Teresa, great that you're here. Glad that you made it. Marion, I'm glad that you tuned in. Welcome aboard. Welcome to this Time Out with Coach Hill. You want to go ahead and like. You want to go ahead and share this. That's great. We're going to be talking tonight more about the cash flow quadrant and why is it so important. Why did it actually revolutionize my thinking, and what has it been doing over the last, wow, cash flow quadrant's been out since the 90s. How many lives have been impacted in a positive way because of cash flow quadrant? We're going to be dealing with this for quite some time. Teresa, I see you there. Thank you for tuning in. Great to have you there. Absolutely a great day. Garfield, I see you watching as well. Welcome to the broadcast. Go ahead and hit that share button. Go ahead and share this with your friends as well as with your enemies. You know my saying, you can turn those enemies into your frenemies if you're giving out the positive information, the positive vibes. You know what? You're always going to attract that which you are. So if you're a positive thinking person, a forward thinking person, and you want to attract those type of people into your life, just continue to be that person. Continue to do it even though it may not be going quite the way you want it to go right now in your life. Such as, let's say this evening, here in Houston, we're having some major thunderstorms. We don't hardly get that, but when we get them, we get them. And we're getting some flooding that's taking place. But you know what? I never let my external determine what I feel internally. So the weather doesn't get me down, people don't get me down, nothing gets me down, because greater is he that's within me than he that's in the world. And that has so many different meanings, not only from the he that's within me being the Holy Spirit versus the he that's in the world, which is, you know, Lucifer, Satan. Also the he that's within me that I've built up, that inner man of me being a person who's always looking for the positive, always looking for places to actually grow, always looking for areas where I can challenge myself to get better, That's what it's all about. And I appreciate you out there, guys. Like I said, I'm not going to rush into this, but I do have some great information for you that we're going to decipher tonight, dealing with the E quadrant. That mighty E quadrant. It has 90 to 95% of the population that is just right there, stuck there, right? Stuck there. You can go back and listen to my video that I did on yesterday, I believe it was, and I talked about the reason why people are there. I went into more detail about the educational system that we actually have, the educational system that taught us how to be employees. It groomed us. Think about this, guys. From the time that you're a little kid and you go to career day, right? And they said, oh, you know, we're going to have people to come by and talk to you. I see you there, Ruben. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and share this with your friends and your family. But you remember career day, right? And if you have kids now, they're still doing it, right? So when career day shows up, what do? What do they do? Well, of course, they bring in the doctors, and there's nothing wrong with being a doctor. They bring in the lawyers. There's nothing wrong with being a lawyer. They bring in the pilots. The pilots always got the biggest ooh, you know, because they get to come in their uniform and everything. They got the wings there, and I fly jets for a living, you know. So, you know, but those are the typical careers that we actually hear. When's the last time you went to a career day and someone says, you know what, I'm an investor? Or someone comes in and say, you know what, I do and sell real estate or things of that nature. You hardly ever get that. You do, but you don't. And then every once in a while, you'll get someone who's maybe like an astronaut that comes in and just totally blows everybody out of the water, right? Those are careers, and there's nothing wrong with those careers. If that's what you aspire to, then my hat's off to you. But so many of us find ourselves in dead-end careers, doing things that we do, not because they actually satisfy us, not because they actually make our dreams manifest. We do them because it pays us a paycheck. And that's the first thing I'm going to start talking about in tonight's session is that if you are the type of person that likes what we call a safe and secure job, then typically your key words that you love to hear are words like this. There's a lot of security. There's a lot of benefits here. We're going to be able to do this. I see you there, Michelle. Thank you for showing up as well. Thank you for being here with this Time Out with Coach Hill. So, if you find yourself every time you think that maybe you want to migrate into one of these other quadrants, you always see yourself staying back. It's because you're probably looking for that safe and that secure, quote, pathway. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight, if that's okay. That safe and secure pathway, many people have sought that throughout history. I talked about the 3 different ages that we've actually pretty much gone through. We're going into the 4th age that I really haven't talked about a lot, but I'm going to do a little quick review and let you know the reason why you feel really, really comfortable there in the E quadrant, right? You're comfortable. That's why you're in the E quadrant. It's very comfortable. I mean, guys, you think about it. You get your check every 2 weeks or maybe every month. For the most part, as long as you do just enough not to get fired, they'll pay you just enough that you won't leave. So you're pretty comfortable there. And all throughout human history, we've always looked for the path of least resistance. You don't believe me? Go to your neighborhood Walmart, stand there at the door. On one side of the door, you'll see where it says enter. On the other side of the door, you'll see where it says exit. Now, what you'll see, if you just stand there for a few minutes, what you'll see people coming to the exit sign and entering there. Why do they do that? Is it because they can't read? No, it's closest to them getting to where they want to go. It has the path of least resistance. They, in their mind, thinks it's okay to go into the exit door because it's right there, right? It's right there. Now, if you go on the other side, you'll see the entry door. You'll see people coming out the entry door. Now, why are they doing that? Huh? Is it because they can't read? Is it because they didn't graduate from, the 3rd grade or something? No. The reason why they did it is because it's the path of least resistance. People literally are lazy. Now, if you're going in the outdoor or out the indoor, what you're going to have is congestion. And that's what's happened in our society. So many times we have this congestion because people are seeking the easier way, the easier path, rather than to challenge themselves. I remember something a mentor of mine told me a long time ago, because the words that would come out of my mouth is, I have a problem. I have a problem. Thank you for showing up there, Jeff Lewis. Glad that you can make it. I used to always say, I got a problem here and I got a problem there. He pulled me to the side and he said, anytime you ever start telling me about your problems, I'm going to turn and go the other way. And I didn't want that person to go the other way. I said, well, what word should I use other than problem? He told me this, and I've never forgotten it. He said, challenges. See, we were born with this winner, with this champion, with this absolutely intensive power to overcome. That's why I say I'm a winner, I'm a champion, I'm an overcomer, I'm a game changer. You know what? Because we are created that way. So we don't have problems. What we have is challenges. And what we are able to do as humans, we're able to rise above those challenges, right? So these people who are going in and out the wrong door, they don't want to take the extra steps. Don't let that be you. For now on, be the person that says, you know what, I'm going to do what it takes to get myself in alignment where I'm actually operating in the correct way in everything I do. I'm always challenging myself in everything I'm doing. I'm always getting better rather than bitter, right? So that's the first part. That's the first part I want you guys to get, is that we have to start challenging ourselves. Now, I'm going to go back and talk about these ages. One of the ages that I was talking about at the very beginning is the agricultural age. Now, why is the agricultural age a far gone matter? Well, because, as things continue to progress, things got a little bit better in the United States. People able to actually do a little bit better. People tend to actually want to do more with each other. They want to be more social. And what the agriculture age really was people living on farms, people living away from other people. Your nearest neighbor might be, 20 acres to the left or 20 acres to the right. And you're just there. You're by yourself, you, maybe your wife and your kids. But you know what? You're doing well. You're eating well. You're living well. People like to be social. People like to get around people. So as that continued to actually happen, we move from what is called the agricultural age into the industrial age. And that really happened when you're talking about having a lot of people living around each other and people, coming up with ideas of how to do things better, and the industrial age got started roughly around about, some people say the early 1800s, but really it started ramping up at the late 1800s when all started to be produced, when electricity came online, when you're actually having all these inventions that took place that ushered us into the 20th century. That's the industrial age that is taking place. And that industrial age really, really suited the E quadrant, because now you have people that were leaving the farms, right? They're leaving the farms and they're going into the cities and they're actually getting jobs. So they're taking, if you would, a guaranteed amount of income so that they could actually provide for their family. I see you there, Jeff. Appreciate you. Who is that? Carlton Webb. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and share this with your friends and family. So this started to build up this quadrant, the E quadrant, the employee quadrant. You now had people that were actually saying, I'm going to leave the farm. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to start working for someone else. They're going to guarantee me something. See, when you were talking about the agricultural age, there was no guarantees. You can go and you could get all these seeds and you could actually, till the land, if you would. You could plant the seed and then all of a sudden a tornado comes through or some type of massive flood, or maybe the locusts would come and eat it. So there was no guarantee. And I just told you a few minutes ago, people like what? What is it that people like? Anybody? They seek the path of least resistance. So working on a farm is a lot of work, right? Working for someone else where they're going to take the risk, where they're going to make the guarantees, then people are typically going to lean that way. And that's what we did. We did that from the early 1800s all the way up until the 1990s. So roughly a little over 100 to 150 years, you, me, we, our parents, our great-grandparents, pretty much have actually worked for someone else. So when you came home as a little kid, I don't know about you, but for me, when I came home, my stepdad would come home. He worked for a company called Foley's. Foley's was bought out by Macy's. So when Vernon came home, my stepdad came home, he always came home and I would see his name badge here, right? Because that's what they did. They put a name badge so that other people would know who you are and when they came on board or whatnot, and you could identify somebody. But how many of you guys have had family members like that, where they work somewhere where either they have their name on their uniform or they have some type of badge or something like that, right? So that they can be identified. If you take a look at it, roughly about 90% of the people that you were surrounded by actually worked for someone else. So for you, it was told to you subconsciously, subliminally, that it was okay to actually work for someone else. And it is. I said that on my very first broadcast. It's okay to work for someone else. It's definitely okay to have a job. I'm not here to bash jobs. I'm here to say, why is that the only thing you have? Why are you putting all your eggs in that proverbial basket? Why don't you diversify? And I'm not talking about multiple jobs. Oh, I got a job here and I got a job there. I got a job over here. You got multiple jobs. No, I'm talking about diversification in many, many different ways. And we're going to get into more of that. I said we got 3 other quadrants that I haven't even touched yet. But here with this employee quadrant, I want you to understand that we've moved from one paradigm to another paradigm to another paradigm. And the third paradigm that we actually moved into, guys, is the one that we're still kind of like in right now. And that's the information age. The information age. You're talking about the IBM computers. You're talking about Microsoft. You're talking about all these computers that we brought on board to actually help us do things a lot easier. To be able to actually get certain things done when it comes down to any type of labor. You're able to actually set up a computer to actually run the program to actually get things done. So in the E quadrant, guess what? In the industrial age, we've actually moved to a new age of information technology. In that age there, guys, now you're talking about, machines can start to actually do what humans used to do. When it came down to the assembly line, when it came down to actually building what? Cars. Excellent, Jeff. Learning this particular information in a book called Generations. All right, well, I definitely looked that up. Sherry, I appreciate you being here. Go ahead and share this with your friends. Jeff Lewis, I see you there as well. Shane Johnson, thank you for being on. Go ahead and share this with your friends and your family. And those enemies that we turn into frenemies because you give them great information, right? So getting back to what I was saying, all these machines now are able to actually do things that, in essence, humans used to do. Was able to actually do it much quicker. When I was actually graduating from high school and going into the workforce, we used to have these things in almost every office. They're no longer there. You're talking about cabinet files. Most of the time you go into an office, you won't see a cabinet file anymore. Why is that? Because the information technology is taking over. You can actually, what used to be in files all up, lined up beside the wall in here and all in the side there, you can now literally have on a desktop computer. Well, guess what? The people who used to deliver those file cabinets, they no longer have a job. The people who used to make those file cabinets, they no longer have a job. So you see things starting to shift. You see things starting to change. I'm letting you know that every time there's a change, it's going to disrupt and it's going to dismantle your comfortability. So you might be comfortable in what you're doing, but I'm here to say that there's somebody out there working right now to disrupt what you're doing. They're trying to find an easier way to do it without you. You don't believe me? Go to your neighborhood Walmart. Go to your neighborhood Walmart. Guess what? Sam Walton, when he got started and he had all these employees. You go in there right now, you can barely find somebody if you're looking for something. Great to have you here, Romero. Romero. Great to have you here. Go ahead and share this with your friends and your family. So you go to Walmart and guess what? You can wander around there all day and ain't nobody going to talk to you. It wasn't that way 20 years ago when Walmart first came to Houston or first came to some of these big cities. But guess what? Because of technology, because we moved really from that industrial into that information technology age, it's disrupted, it started to dismantle, and then it started to displace humans. So those people who thought they had a safe and secure job found out that it wasn't safe and it wasn't secure. Is there anything wrong with having a job or having the desire for that? No, I'm letting you know that for my time of being on this planet, I've seen cycles come and go. And one of the cycles that is really, really starting to be depleted and starting to go has to deal with things that are done from the industrial age. Now, even though we're in the information tech age, we see a new age that is dawning. Can anybody tell me what the new age that is starting to dawn? Anybody? And I appreciate those hearts and those thumbs up. I appreciate that, guys. So don't stop doing that. I appreciate it. But anybody know what age is on the horizon right now? This age, you better detect it. you better be able to see it before it actually seizes your ability to actually earn income for your family. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? All right, I want to give everybody a second. It's called the AI age. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Guys, this is coming. You might not like it. You might not want it. You might be against it, but it's coming anyway. Just like the farmer. The farmer could have been against the industrial age all they wanted, but it came anyway. In the industrial age, guess what? Information technology came anyway. Computers came on anyway. Now these computers, these artificial intelligent computers, are actually coming online. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to change the way you and I are able to actually earn income. There's some good news, there's some great news, and there's some news that will cause you to lose if you don't pay attention. I'm going to say that again. Good news, great news, and some news that will cause you to lose if you're not paying attention. So what I want you to do, guys, I want you to pay attention to what's going on here in the E quadrant. I want you to start, every once in a while, opening up your mind to other ways of how money is going to be made in the 21st century. You do know we are in the 21st century, right? We're no longer in the 20th century. That was out almost 20 years ago. We're about to be finished with the first quarter of the 21st century. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. When I was going to high school, they were writing, well, before I even got to high school, they wrote a book about what was called 1984. A lot of things that were written in that book we're starting to experience socially, but that's another subject. But guess what? 1984 came and it went. There was also a TV show that I used to like to watch. It was called Space 1999. And 1999 looked so far in the future. I was like, man, 1999. And it was about the moon separating the earth and everything. It was really good. Joy, I appreciate you coming on board. Great to see you there, my friend. Love you. You know I do. But, guys, you're talking about the 20th century. They were talking about going into the 21st century. I see you there, Mr. Smith. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and share and like this and share it with your friends and your family as well. And they were talking about what was going to happen in the future, right? The 21st century. Here we are, guys. It's 2019, and we're moving through this pretty quickly. Can I get a witness there? This is May, and I ain't talking about May 1st. This is May. We're moving on down through May. It'll be June in just a little while, and 2020 will be staring us all in the face. AI, artificial intelligence, is on the way, and you need to prepare yourself. What are you doing now to prepare yourself for the 20th, the next 20 years into the 21st century? Well, I'm going to get to this E quadrant now. Here's why the E quadrant is not as safe and secure. For the things I just told you about the AI age that's coming on board, that should wake you up. Another thing is, and if you'll study history, you'll know after there's a good period of time of prosperity, then something else follows that. Jim Rome talked about it. He said, just like summer, then you go into fall, and then you go into winter. It's always happened. It's always happened. There's no such thing as things going on forever. So that's the first thing you need to know is that as long as you've been on your job, that means even more of an opportunity for something to become disrupted. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm saying this so that I can disrupt your line of thinking. I can stop you from going in the outdoor. I can stop you from taking the path of least resistance, and you start to say to yourself, I got to get gooder and gooder, greater and greater every day and every hour of the day. We all have to get better. So I'm going to dismantle that. I'm going to disrupt that thinking. I'm going to get you to the point where, you know what, your dreams, your desires, and your destiny is so vividly clear that you'll be able to step into it on a daily basis, take another step into it. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. And now's the time. While things are going really, really well for you, now's the time for you to start actually learning some new skills, getting better at what you do, yes, but learning some new skills on top of what you do. Now, I'm going to move on to this. Why is this such a volatile area in the E quadrant? Write this down. Y-O-E. If no other reason, Y-O-E. If you have a spouse, you need to make sure that you're able to migrate to another side of life so you're not simply operating out of Y-O-E. Y-O-E stands for your own efforts. Your own efforts. If the only way that you're actually earning income right now is through your own efforts, a big red neon light needs to actually be flashing. Danger, danger, danger. Joe, appreciate you for checking in, seeing what old Coach Hill is doing. I appreciate you. Go ahead and like and share this, and definitely watch it on the rebroadcast. Right now, there's a major storm outside my window here. And guess what? Maybe tomorrow, maybe, they say it's supposed to rain all night, and this is Houston. Houston's flat like this. It doesn't take a lot for water to start standing on it, for the lakes to start filling up. So we got flooding going on out there. Guess what? What if you're not able to go to work tomorrow, and tomorrow's a deadline for something? Well, of course, maybe you can do it at home. Dominique, I appreciate you being on here. Go ahead and like and share this with your friends and your family. Well, guess what? If you're not able to go to work for whatever reason, it's only so long that your employer is going to pay you without you coming in. So when you're in the E quadrant, you're really, really locked in to your own efforts. If you get sick, what if your kids get sick? Or what if a parent, starts to age and get a little bit older and you want to be there with them? Well, guess what? You can't do those things when you're exclusively in the E quadrant. I'm just giving it to you real, right? So in the E quadrant, it limits your ability to earn income if that's all you have. Most people in the E quadrant, they go to work for 40 hours a week, some more than that. Then they do that for 40 years. A kid comes out of high school, they go to college, they get their BS degree. You ever wonder why they call it a BS degree, right? They get their BS degree, and they're able to actually earn money, pay back the money that they actually owe. And guess what? Typically, by the time they've gotten into their career really, really strong, they're about 25 years old. Well, guess what? They're going to continue to work for someone else. If they don't change that paradigm, they don't change that way of thinking, they're going to continue to work for someone else. Maybe they work for this company for 5 years. Maybe they work for that company for 5 years. Then they go back and they work for this company for 7 years. And they're hopping to different jobs. And that's just what people have been doing, because honestly, if you find somebody that's been on one job for 10 years, that's almost like a miracle in today's job atmosphere out there. So guess what? These people jumping around, and as artificial intelligence comes on board and we move even further away from the industrial age and more just into the information and the AI technology side, guess what? You're going to have people that are not holding 9-to-5s anymore. They're holding contract jobs. That's what companies are looking to do, is to be able to bring people on board as contracts. That way we don't have to pay the insurance. That way we don't have to pay all these other things that you typically have to pay when you bring somebody full time. So I'll bring you on board as a contractor. I'll suck up all the energy I can out of you for that 2-year contract, and then I'll release you. That's where we're headed, guys. And this is the reason why I'm doing what I do right now in regards to getting this information out there to you, because I don't want anybody that I know or anybody that they know to be caught up and left out when it comes down to what's transpiring out there, what's taking place. They call me coach not because I ever coached basketball, football, or track. It's because I coach people on how to succeed. I coach people on how to actually, be the leader of the pack, how to place their mind on the truth, that they're more than capable of doing and living their dreams. The truth that, you know what, as a child of God, that guess what? You can do all things. There's nothing that is limited to you if you're willing to apply yourself, to get yourself in alignment spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, and to actually concentrate. You can become the leader of the pack, the leader of your family, leading your family out of poverty, leading your family, if you would, out of that E quadrant. Leading your kids out of that E quadrant where, you know what, people typically work for 40 hours, like I said, for 40 years, and then they retire on 40% of what they can't live on right now. Imagine it, if you would. Imagine that you're in your 60s and you finally got your income up to $100,000 because you worked really, really hard to get that. And now it's time for you to retire, and your income goes from $100,000 down to $40,000 a year. That's a major drop off. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. So I'm going to be taking us to our next quadrant the next time we speak, which is going to be the S quadrant. I think I pretty much have handled the E quadrant as best I could. Go back and watch my other videos to get the full scope of what the E quadrant is about those jobs and how they actually did the jobs and why you got jobs and why you feel comfortable in jobs and why so many people are staying right there, even though they can see things starting to, change. Yes, the economy's good now. I thank God for it. I thank God for every last one of you out there to have a job, but understand how business cycles run, and now's the time to prepare. So guys, it's been a thrill. I'm so excited that you actually tuned in. Go back and watch this again. Go back and watch all the videos. Hopefully it'll help you to be able to start to understand that, you know what, there are other ways for me to earn income, and it's not too late. As a matter of fact, this is the perfect time for me to learn some additional skills so that I can put myself ahead of the curve. So no matter what happens tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade, I am a leader of the pack rather than falling behind and finding yourself a casualty of what's going on out there. So guys, I will see you on another broadcast. Love you. God bless. See you later.